Hey, Yinz guys and gals, gather round for a journey like no other. It's time to hop on board the Where Yinz Goin podcast. From the rivers that meet at the point to form downtown Pittsburgh, to the Great Salt Lake, to the furthest corners of the globe, Matt and Katie will be your compass, your confidants, your companions of that, as we explore the wonders of travel. So kick back, relax on your couch, and let the wanderlust wash over Yinz as we discover new horizons and reminisce about old favorites. With Matt and Katie by our side, the sky's the limit. Join Matt and Katie on the Where Yinz Goin podcast, because when it comes to travel, the journey's just getting started. And now, without further ado, let's give a shout for your guides through the highways and byways of travel, the planning partners, the travel tandem, Matt and Katie.
Hi, Yinz doing? Welcome to the Where Yinz Goin podcast. I'm Matt. I'm one of your hosts. Katie can't join us again, but Mandy's back with us. Welcome, Mandy.
Thank you. Hi, Matt.
So you remember Mandy from the episode about the kids' perspectives of Disney, and I'm sorry to say that Zoe won't be joining us today, but Zoe gave us a lot of information about the Disney Treasure and the cruise that they went on there. And Disney Treasure is the newest Disney Cruise Line ship. So we're going to talk to Mandy today about their cruise that they had on it earlier this year. But before we get into that, we start every podcast with this question. Mandy, what is your favorite place that you've ever been, or is there a place you would like to visit the most?
That is a great question. And my favorite place I've ever been, I'm a diehard Walt Disney World girl at heart. So my favorite place is Walt Disney World. But I do have bucket list destinations that I hope to see later on, including like the Greek Isles and Italy. So I'm hoping to one day do one of the Mediterranean Disney Cruise Line voyages.
Yeah, that's amazing. Last year now, my sister and brother-in-law did a Viking cruise that went through the Mediterranean. And if you listen to one of the podcasts, I think it's podcast 16. So it was back in August that I talked to my brother-in-law about their trip, and he had so many good things to say, and actually some surprising things too. About there was a small town in France that was his favorite.
Oh,
But you get those things of the unexpected. Yeah, I expected it to be this and that, but this place was amazing. So
exactly. Yeah.
But all right, let's dive into the treasure. And whenever you go on that trip, we'll have you back on. And you can tell us all about it.
Perfect. It'll probably be, in the next few years, hopefully. Maybe 5, maybe 10, but I'll be here.
Hopefully the podcast is still here too by then.
Yeah, I would think so. I love your podcast. I would think so.
It's fun. All right, so Disney Treasure is the 6th ship in the Disney Cruise Line fleet. First, they had the Magic class, which started with the Disney Magic in 1998, and then followed by the Disney Wonder in 1999. Took a few years until the Dream class came with the Disney Dream in 2011, followed by the Disney Fantasy in 2012. Now we're on the Triton class, which started with the Disney Wish in 2022, and now the Disney Treasure, which just started in 2024. And then coming this year, we have the Disney Destiny and the Disney Adventure. The Disney Adventure is going to be in Southeast Asia with the home port of Singapore. And then they announced that there's another 5 ships coming in the next 5 years or 6 years or so.
Yeah, it's really impressive how many ships are coming out. And especially when you see them in person, and the Disney Plus has a lot of the neat documentaries, if you will, of the making of the ships. And when you see all of the work that goes into these massive vessels, it's mind-boggling that they're just able to keep, making them and having them ready when they do. It's amazing.
Oh, it's a floating city.
Yes.
And just last night, I watched the Disney Plus documentary on the Treasure to help prepare for this. That after I did all my research, like I want to watch it and see what it says too.
Yeah.
So
I loved watching that. My daughter and I watched it, and I wanted to see more of the ship. And they mainly focused on the Moana show, the Haunted Mansion parlor, and then what was the third one that they focused on? I'm drawing a blank.
So am I. And I just watched it.
Yeah, it
It's old
was
age for you.
three. Yeah, right. Three major. Um, anyway, but it made sense because the other things on the Disney Cruise Line, on the
Oh,
Treasure, are already a part of the Disney Cruise Line. So they were showing basically like the new and exciting, um, you know, the lounge, the Haunted Mansion Parlor Lounge, and so forth. The Moana show was a stunning.
and it was Plaza de Coco that they
That
showed.
was it. Thank you. The other restaurant. That's right. Yes. Yep. So it was a nice way to get transported back to our magical week we had there on the Treasure.
And while we're getting into sailing, we have to go with our sailing terminology that the bow is the front of the ship, the stern is the back, port is left side, and starboard is right.
Mm-hmm.
And the Disney Treasure made its maiden voyage December 21st, 2024. Now, it did one before that. It was sort of like a special cruise, but the actual real first maiden voyage was on the 21st. So, how about that for a Christmas present?
Right. That would have been incredible. And they still actually had in one of the gift shops, Mickey's Main Sale, they actually still had some of the limited edition maiden voyage paraphernalia, and I definitely got myself one of the mugs that that says maiden voyage. Even though we weren't on the maiden voyage, we were on one of the the inaugural sailings. But I thought that'd be a fun little memento to have, so I definitely bought it.
It was your maiden voyage on it,
It
so
was my
sure.
maiden voyage, and it was my maiden voyage not only on Disney Cruise Line, but forever. That was my first cruise of my entire life. So
And what you just heard from what Mandy said a little bit earlier, she's now one of the cruisers. She's going back.
100%. I booked my placeholder, which we can talk about, I'm sure, in a little bit. And we are already booked for next year on the exact same ship, exact same itinerary. And I'm so excited.
So now we get to have you again next year too, so we can compare and contrast whether the second time is better.
That's a good idea. And then I already promised my family, my husband in particular, because he wants to definitely go on the Disney Destiny coming out. But I promised him we'd book a different ship and a different itinerary following this next trip. So
And another podcast. All right, Mandy's coming back for a bunch of them later.
yeah.
So the theme of the Disney Treasure is adventure, and they have Captain Mickey on the bow. So he's like painted on the front, and then on the back you have Peter Pan and Captain Hook. So they're the stern characters. Well, that works for Captain Hook because he's a stern character who is on the stern.
I know, I love that.
So, but Peter Pan is kind of like he's flying around painting, and Captain Hook's leaning out of a portal, trying waving his hook at Peter
Mhm.
Pan. And then in the atrium, the theme is Aladdin. That they have Aladdin, it's a gold statue of Aladdin and Jasmine flying on the carpet. And then
Mhm.
there's also, it's kind of a hidden thing because it's not that big, but there's Genie's lamp that's also in gold off to the side.
Mhm.
So make sure you look for these little nuances, these little hidden gems. And then if you ever sailed on the Disney Cruise Line or sailed on any other cruise line and been in port with a Disney ship, you know that the horns are special, that they will play different Disney songs. And so here's the list of how many they can have is A Dream is a Wish Your Heart Makes from Cinderella, Be Our Guest from Beauty and the Beast, Yo Ho, A Pirate's Life for Me from the Pirates of the Caribbean, which that is the perfect song for being on a cruise ship, I think.
It is.
When You Wish Upon a Star from Pinocchio. And I love that song. That if you listen to the lyrics, they really touch me. The
I walked down the aisle to that song at my wedding, of course, at Walt Disney World. So love that one.
and we're gonna have Mandy back for a podcast about Disney weddings. I have to start writing these down. I need to make my list.
Yeah, right.
So, but the one line in that song is like a bolt out of the blue, fate steps in and sees you through.
Mhm.
And they use that song whenever it's like the Super Bowl or the World Series and they interview the quarterback or the MVP or whoever it is of, hey, I'm going to Disney World and that song's playing under. But if you think about, great moments in sports and whatever that fate steps in, and it just, I just get goosebumps listening to that.
Yep, I agree.
I just love that lyric. Now, some other songs are High Diddly D, An Actor's Life for Me from Pinocchio. Uh, Do You Want to Build a Snowman from Frozen? It's a Small World from The Ride. Star Wars, the main theme. A Whole New World from Aladdin. Remember Me from Coco. Grim, Grim Grinning Ghost from The Haunted Mansion. Try saying that 3 times fast. How Far I'll Go from Moana. You're Welcome also from Moana. And we don't talk about Bruno from Encanto. So you get the Aladdin stuff, and as Manny mentioned, the Haunted Mansion because there's something special to there. There's Coco, so it's themed towards things that you're going to get on the cruise ship. Now there's the other classic Disney stuff that's familiar, but there's a purpose for this.
Yeah, and it's really fun when those go off throughout the day. Well, obviously you have to be like on the deck, like deck 11, like any of the pool decks. So I'd say deck 11 and up, unless you're outside. And I will say, if you're on, I believe it's deck 14, where we found our perfect little kind of quieter spot to lay out for the day. It's insanely loud. So if you have people at all sensitive to noise, you're going to want to cover your ears when it's 12 o'clock and they blast those songs out. They're beautiful, but it's very loud.
Important note: bring the noise canceling headphones and have
Yeah.
them available. Yeah, that's definitely my little girl. Did she talks a big game about how brave she is, but whenever fireworks start going off, it's a whole other story.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she has very sensitive ears. The loud noises really bug her, so
Mhm.
we have to be careful with that.
Yeah.
Now, the Disney Treasure, just some facts and figures about its size. That is 1,119 feet and 2 inches long. Don't forget the 2 inches.
No, I can't.
Its beam, so how wide it is at its widest point, is 137 feet 11 inches. It's 221 feet tall, has 15 decks, has an average speed of 24 knots. So a nautical mile is basically mile per hour. A max speed of 28 knots, capacity of 5,555, and a crew of 1,555. And there's 1,250 staterooms. So imagine being the person who has to change all those sheets.
No, I can't imagine. And the stateroom hosts are incredible. And I will say, I know that when we were getting off at the first port, one of the security people that are part of the onboarding and reboarding process, they told my husband that the trip that we went on was their fullest amount, I should say, of passengers that they had yet had on the Treasure. I want to say we had, for the guest capacity, I want to say it's 4,000. And I think we had around 38 or 3,900 on board, just guests.
Yeah, so its capacity of the ship is 5,555. 1,555 of those are the crews. That leaves 4,000 guests as a
Yes.
capacity.
Yeah. So it was a very, very full boat. And it's amazing that they can fit that many people on board a ship. It's unreal.
Yeah, like I said, it's a floating city.
It really is. And although I prepared myself mentally to try, to wrap my head around cruising, being out in the ocean. I had a mild paranoia about it prior to this. Watching videos, watching, YouTubers tour it, be on it, all the different Disney ships, the photos, listening to podcasts, even. Nothing does it justice until you arrive at Port Canaveral or wherever you sail from. But for us, it was Port Canaveral, Florida, and you see that ship in person. It just, wow, they're huge. It's amazing.
Oh yeah, how massive they are. We were in Puerto Rico this past summer, and it wasn't a Disney ship. I think it was a Carnival ship.
Okay.
It was in port, and we were walking through Old San Juan, and just being around that, and even we were a little bit farther away, but just seeing that they're so big.
Yes. Yep. And a little bit of background on my family. My husband's a commercial fisherman, so boats are not you know, to him and us. We're very familiar with them. And he even sees some of these ships that will pass him out on the sea when he's fishing. Um, I still, though, with that, having that background and familiarity with that, yeah, like you said, floating cities, the size of these ships is absolutely unreal.
And now let's get into some of these staterooms. That some of the size of some of these staterooms is absolutely unreal too.
Hmm.
That all the room types that we're going to talk about are ADA accessible, or they have ADA accessible versions of them. So if you need something for mobility issues or whatever, they can accommodate. And all these staterooms feature a sitting area, a privacy curtain to separate the sitting area from where the main bed is, a queen bed, and a single sofa bed. So basically that you can, sleep on the couch. Something I've never experienced. My wife never gets mad at me. And a lot of these will sleep 3 to 4 or 4 to 5. So if it has the extra person, they're going to have a pull down single bed that comes down from the ceiling with a celestial scene featuring genie on this that's on the ceiling. It's a
Hmm.
neat thing of him like in stars, and I forget what it says. There's like little script written. Um,
Yes, because we had one of those. My daughter slept in it, and I'm trying to remember if I have a picture of that.
yeah, but the way it swings down from the ceiling is amazing. And it has a capacity of 265 pounds. That looking at that thing, it's like I'd be afraid to climb up, but they're very sturdily built, so you can trust it. There's
Hmm.
Disney magic that holds it up.
It is Disney magic, and I think I also enjoy um, the fact that you don't have to do that. Your stateroom host takes care of pulling down the bed at night and then also putting it up in the morning. So
And if it sleeps 5, there's also a single pull down that comes down from the wall. That's kind of like a Murphy bed.
yes, right over by the well, if you have a veranda room, it would be by the sliding doors.
Hmm. And also a TV and a desk. And then the inside, one of the inside rooms, they'll sleep 3 to 4. It's 169 square feet, and they have a magic portal. So there's no window to look out, but they have like a little flat screen thing that you can see outside, and then occasionally you'll see some animated characters who will pop in to say hello. I know some of the ones that I saw were like a starfish will wash up on it and stick there and smile and wave.
Yeah, it's cute.
And then all these other staterooms, so other than the inside ones, all the other ones have a split bathroom, which has a shower and toilet that are separate. So it makes getting ready in the morning a whole lot nicer. And I wish I've had some of these at different points in my life growing up. Especially after we first got married, my wife and I first got married, that we lived in an apartment that we were both finishing up grad school. And well, I was finishing, she was still in grad school. And so wake up in the morning, it's like knocking on the door, are you done yet?
Exactly. It's a
So
very nice
and I grew
perk.
up with 3 sisters too, so
Oh,
giving them the chance to have the shower when with doing the other stuff, that would have been
yes.
nice.
That would have been, yeah. I can with three sisters, I can see that.
Now the deluxe ocean view will sleep 3 to 4. It's 218 square feet. They also have a deluxe family ocean view that sleeps 4 to 5, and it's a little bit bigger, 237 square feet. And so this will have the actual portal. But even on these, I believe they have the animation that you can turn on or off to still see like the little characters pop in.
Oh, I didn't know that.
At least I thought at least they used to. I'm not sure if they still. I imagine they still would because
Okay.
that's a fun little thing.
Yeah.
The veranda staterooms have patio furniture, plexiglass railings and dividers, and child-proof locks, which
Mm.
I would definitely need that because my little girl is in gymnastics and loves to climb on everything.
Oh, wow.
Even yesterday, my wife went downstairs and they were getting ready to leave, and she gets in the car and she's like, "Where'd what's taking her so long?" She comes back in. My little girl's pushed a chair over to the shelf and was climbing the shelf to get candy. It's like, oh,
Innovative, you know?
so now we have to get rid of some of the candy as her
Yeah.
punishment. She doesn't get it. So, yeah, life's lessons. The deluxe ocean view with the veranda sleeps 3 to 4, and it's 243 square feet. And then the deluxe family ocean view with the veranda sleeps 4 to 5 and is 284 square feet. So we're gradually getting a little bit bigger.
Hmm.
And then they have the concierge level or concierge staterooms that will have a down duvet that's on your main bed. You get to have your choice of pillows, whether it's hypoallergenic, feather, or therapeutic memory foam. There's a mouthful for you. You get robes and slippers to wear while you're on board. There's complimentary basic surf Wi-Fi, and it's one device per guest.
Wow.
So yeah, otherwise you don't have to pay for the Wi-Fi. But you're on a Disney cruise and you're having fun, so you're escaping from the world. You don't need
I
that.
was gonna say that was one of my favorite aspects is not having Wi-Fi. Everybody was disconnected. It was like old-fashioned family fun.
When you actually talk to people at dinner instead of looking at your phone all day.
Exactly.
When you have the concierge level, you can reserve onboard activities up to 123 days prior to your sail date. Now, you can let the concierge team know 130 days prior, and then they'll book it at 123. So that's nice. You have an extra little bit of, okay, I want this, this, and this, and then you don't have to worry about it.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, if you get a travel advisor, they can also take care of all that for you, too.
Very true.
The concierge team can help with different things like port adventures, dining reservations, including confirmations and changes if you have to, dining room seating requests, in-suite dining, special occasions or celebrations, other special requests, priority tendering, updates to your personal itinerary. There's a concierge lounge that's on deck 12 that has a TV, complimentary food and non-alcoholic drinks throughout the day, and then cocktails at select times as long as you're old enough to drink, or depending on where you're at, because international waters and stuff, right?
Yeah.
And there you have access to the sun deck on deck 13, which has two whirlpools, a waiting pool, cushioned lounge chairs, and a bar stocked with water and refreshments. So concierge is the way to go. It's like having a travel advisor with you the whole time.
Yeah, I will. One day we were walking. I want to say it was definitely a day at sea, maybe day 3, and my son is an avid eater. I mean, he's almost 15, so food is his life right now. And we were walking on deck 11, heading to I don't know, probably the ice cream, um, little stand there
That Zoe talks so highly about.
that Zoe talked so highly about. Yeah, that's where we could always find my son. Like I said, well, somebody walked past us with a plate of sushi. And my son immediately was like, where'd they get the sushi? Where'd they get the sushi? I'm like, well, I don't know. Go ask. And he ran up to them and inquired and very, they were like, oh, it's for concierge guests only. So that came out of their little, you know, um, food lounge, if you will. And they were just bringing it on the regular decks and, showing off for us non-concierge guests. It was funny.
But here's the commoners. They can see what we get.
Yeah. That was the word I was looking for. The commoners.
The little people. Now, with the concierge family ocean view staterooms, there's only 7 of these, and they are Finding Nemo themed. They'll sleep 5 and have they're 357 square feet. The concierge family ocean view with a veranda is a Lion King theme. I think Finding Nemo fits a little better though.
I do. I agree.
This one will sleep 5. It's 296 square feet. The concierge 1 bedroom suites with veranda are also Lion King themed. They sleep 5, 608 square feet. So you take a big jump up with these 1 bedrooms.
Yeah, they're
They have
huge.
2 full bathrooms, a walk-in closet, and a wet bar with water and pop. All right, now here's the big controversy, Mandy.
Oh, I was gonna say soda. Now, where I'm from, it's pop because I'm from Michigan originally, but where I live in New Jersey, it's soda. My
Yeah,
kids, my kids have no idea what pop is.
Western Pennsylvania, it's pop.
Yeah.
Scroll too fast. The concierge 1 bedroom suite with the extended veranda, also Lion King theme, sleeps 5, is 1,031 square feet. And again, with the 2 full bathrooms, walk-in closet, and the wet bar. And then here's where we get really, really fancy. That the concierge 1-story royal suite with a veranda there's 2 of them. There's the Raja Royal Suite, which is Aladdin themed, and then the Bengara Royal Suite, which is the the Jungle Book. They sleep 6 1,507 square feet with 2 bedrooms, walk-in closets in both bedrooms, king beds in the bedrooms, a queen sleeper sofa, 3 full bathrooms, one with a rain shower and a bathtub, and the other one with a walk-in rain shower, a large living area, and a private balcony with a whirlpool.
Not enough. I want more. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay, here's what you asked for more. Here's more. There's the concierge 2-story royal suite
Oh,
with a
good.
veranda. They had the same thing with the Raja and Bangara, Aladdin Jungle Book themes. Sleeping Six, 1,759 square feet, and the rest of it's the same as the 1-story with the other combination. So,
Mhm.
that's like the size of my house.
It's
So
large
take my house and put it on a cruise ship.
on the cruise ship. Yeah,
They don't have such a nice yard though. So,
that's true.
no.
That's true.
But then if you want to go even better, and yeah, Mandy was she was kidding before. This is actually where she stayed because this is how she rolls. The concierge Tomorrow Tower Suite, 2 stories. It's in the forward funnel on the upper deck. So they have the 2
Mhm.
funnels. Old cruise ships back, like the Titanic and uh, back whenever ocean liner cruising
Yeah.
was the big thing of how you cross the ocean. They had their 2 funnels because they needed the 2 funnels. Now the ships are a lot more efficient, so they need 1 funnel for everything they need to do, but they keep the other funnel just for aesthetics and to make it fit and
Hmm.
nice little balance and symmetry, all that. But the second funnel is where they put this big tower suite.
That is, oh my gosh. I've seen the videos because Epcot girl at heart. So I'll be quiet and let you just
Yeah, and
explain it.
it's inspired by Epcot. Sleeps eight,
Mhm.
1,966 square feet. I wonder if that says something. 1966 with isn't that when Walt Disney passed away?
I thought he
The
passed away
year,
at
yeah.
65.
65, 60. No, because 65 was the still the World's Fair, so I thought it was 66. But yeah,
Oh, he's 66.
let's Google. See
Let's
what Google
Google.
says.
Who's faster? You probably are.
I'll keep talking while you look. So it has 2 main bedrooms, a library that's
Oh,
also a
66.
bedroom.
Matt, you're
All
right.
right. All those books I've read and hours watching Disney documentaries have paid
Exactly.
off. Life not wasted. There's also a children's room. They have walk-in closets in the main bedrooms. There's 4.5 baths. The 2 main bedrooms have a standalone bathtubs and walk-in rain showers. The kids' room has a shower. There's a guest bathroom near the entrance as well. There's floor-to-ceiling windows in the main living space. 2-story living area, a grand spiral staircase, a dining salon, and a pantry and wet bar stocked with your water and pop. So, yeah, that's where I'd like to stay.
But it's one of those things. I actually had a conversation with my husband about it because I said, "Oh, that's on my bucket list. I'm gonna stay there like one day. Grandkids or a bunch of us can all go in together for the cost of it." But then when you realize that it's like you said, it's a house. You're staying in a house on a cruise ship, and I feel like you would want to spend so much time in your expensive, beautiful tower suite that then what about the ship? Because the ship itself is amazing as well. You know what I mean?
Decisions.
Decisions.
So
Like, I
whenever I
guess
win the
I've
lottery,
been on, yeah, when you win the lottery or if you've been on enough cruises and you're like, well, now I'm just going to enjoy my tower suite. That's when you can do it, I guess.
well, here's the thing. You already did the one cruise on this treasure, so the next one has to be this to experience the new thing, right?
Yeah, right. Just stay in my room and never leave.
And actually, that's something we're going to talk about later on. Is there's so much to do that whenever you actually go to a port, it's going to kind of hard to leave the cruise ship behind.
We definitely felt that when we get into the stops, we felt that.
So let's get into what we can actually do on board. And of course, there are character greetings with Mickey Mouse, Minnie Mouse, Donald, Daisy, Chip and Dale, Goofy, Pluto, Cinderella, Princess Tiana, some other Disney royalty, the Marvel superheroes. So there will be no shortage of a chance to meet your kids' favorite celebrities or your
Mhm.
favorite celebrities. Do you have a
Yeah, and then
favorite, Mandy?
on the ship. Oh, I'm a Mickey girl at heart, like 100%. But there's something so adorable about Donald Duck that I love Donald Duck. So Mickey and Donald, I think, are my favorites. And then depending, I think, also on the cruise, on which ship, excuse me, that you're on, you have the different princesses and different characters. Because we had Goofy and Max, we had Tiana, we had Rapunzel, we had Genie showed up. And my husband said he saw Baymax. I never saw him, but he said he saw him.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's rare.
And Moana. Obviously, she was on ours. So.
Yeah, and I'm a big Donald guy.
Mm-hmm.
So,
He's
but
just
Mickey's Mickey. How you
Mickey.
cannot
I know. I
you can't
can't
not
cheat
like
on
Mickey.
Mickey. I love Mickey.
Speaking of Mickey and other mouses, they have the Aqua Mouse, which is a water coaster that features Mickey and Minnie. It features the cartoon short, The Curse of the Golden Egg, and the ride kind of interacts with the cartoon that you kind of stop and see a little bit, and things that are happening in the cartoon kind of it's like a 4D thing that kind of influences what happens on the ride too.
Mm. It was cute. I rode it once. I had told myself I had to do it, even though part of the little loop goes out over the ocean, but it's not frightening. So anybody afraid of heights or like, we can't do that, we're going to crash into the ocean. That was my initial thought when I saw it. It's not scary at all. It did though. The Aqua Mouse had a lot of malfunctions or delays, I guess, during our cruise. There were quite a few days at sea when it just wasn't operating. So that was a little disappointing. But the minute it opened, it had a full line and everybody loved it.
Yeah, I'm not afraid of heights. I'm terrified of heights, so that's a whole other story. Yeah, I found that out. And now with other things you can go to for entertainment, there's the Walt Disney Theater that has 1,274 seats. So you're fitting like potentially more than a quarter of the cruise ship
Mm-hmm.
population on there,
Mm-hmm.
at least the passengers. And they have live productions of The Tale of Moana, which is the new one, which if you want to see some of the inside stuff, the Disney Plus documentary has that. They have a
Mm-hmm.
Beauty and the Beast show, and then Disney Sees the Adventure. So Disney and then Sees SEAS the adventure. So taking Sees, you could use that in so many different ways of it sounds like you're seeing it, SEE. It's like you're grabbing it like seize the day type thing. So I love play on word things. It just
I do too.
and so this is all about Goofy and his Pixar pals that journey into uncharted waters. And there's a bunch of songs from Disney films, so you're going to be able to sing right along with it. And Mandy, do you want to? You said about how you saw the Moana one.
We saw the Tale of Moana and we also saw Beauty and the Beast. And we made our kids go to the Tale of Moana since it was new, obviously to the Disney Cruise Line. We waited in line after dinner. And that was, I would say, when you could tell there were a lot of people on board. There were long lines for that show. Completely worth it. It was absolutely beautiful. And it was amazing that, I mean, like you said in the documentary, the work and the craftsmanship and just the imagination that goes into creating these shows, it's unlike anything you've ever seen. It was beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. My kids loved it. Then we also went and saw, my husband and I just went and saw Beauty and the Beast. He fell asleep, I won't lie. But that one was the costumes and the music in the Beauty and the Beast. You can tell that one, I think, has been, longer performed on the Disney Cruise Line ships. Everything was just exquisitely performed, and the music and the scenes and cutting, everything like that. You could tell Moana was a bit newer, and only because sometimes the light, like the spotlight, wouldn't 100% be like where the main person was. So I think they're still kind of working the kinks out with it, but incredible shows. Not
Oh,
I,
the puppetry on Moana looks
Yes,
so amazing.
it's unbelievable. It's really really cool how they put that all together.
And how does the Beauty and the Beast stage show on the Disney Treasure compare to the one in Hollywood Studios?
Oh, the one on the ship, honestly, you feel like you're watching the movie. The one at Hollywood Studios,
It's
I
more of a ballet.
yes, yes. the one on the ship, like I said, between the costumes and the scenery, it's very, very much like you could just know nothing about Beauty and the Beast, show up, watch it, and just feel like you saw the movie. Whereas I feel like the one at the park, like you said, is a little more, you know,
You need to have seen the movie to appreciate it,
I
and it's
think
more of just
so.
a ballet interpretation of it.
Yes, yes, very much so.
The one thing that is my most disappointing thing about the show in Hollywood studios is they do not sing well, they have it at the end, but during the actual play, they don't have the Beauty and the Beast song, which is my favorite.
Yeah, it's classic.
I mentioned how much I like When You Wish Upon a Star, but my favorite is Beauty and the Beast. I love that song. It's so
It's
beautiful.
old as time. Yep.
And for anyone who's been fallen in love and then got married, some of the words there speak to you. Like learning that you were wrong. My wife reminds me of that plenty of times. So now, if you don't want to, besides the live productions, you can go to the Wonderland Cinema or the Neverland Cinema. So Wonderland themed to Alice in Wonderland, Neverland more Peter Pan, and you can catch either classic movies or first run movies. So you get a nice variety there.
Yeah, my son and I took advantage of that. We saw Mufasa, and then we also saw, what was it? A Brave New World. Did I get that right? The new Captain America,
I believe so.
which I think either was just being released in theaters or maybe not yet released. So my son loved that. So that was fun. 2 mornings we did that.
Yeah, Brave New World, which I always think of the book that we had to read in high school, which is completely different.
Completely different. Yeah, much, much different.
We started watching Mufasa on Disney Plus, but again, hyperactive 5-year-old daughter who
Yeah,
watched for about 10 minutes and then is bouncing out the walls. Can we watch something else? It's
right.
like,
Yeah. That's why we didn't bother taking my daughter. She was in the kids club. My son loved Lion King growing up, loves lions to begin with. And so he wanted to see it and absolutely loved it.
so yeah, I'm looking forward to actually watching the rest of it. We have so many movies that we've started to watch and haven't finished yet.
Yes, that's the 5-year-old. Yeah, that's enough. Let's watch something else or do something else.
Now, something I think she would like is called the Hero Zone. That has action-packed challenges. It's a family recreation space. They have sports courts, playgrounds, a game floor, and then like basically like an inflatable obstacle course thing. She loves doing those. We've been to some like festivals or fairs or whatever things, and that they have these in. It's nonstop. She will spend like the entire time just running around those, and she
They
sleeps
had
night.
that up. Yeah, it was the Incredicourse. So it was the Incredibles themed, and it was the entire floor of the Hero Zone the one day, much to my son's dismay, because the Hero Zone is where he and his buddies would go and play basketball after dinner almost every single night, and throughout the day whenever it opened. I want to say, I don't have the time on me. I want to say the Hero Zone would only open like at 3 or 4. I have to look that up actually. But it wouldn't be open all day long. And obviously, during the Incredicourse day, the course took up the entire space, but it was hilarious and a lot of fun to watch all the family members and kids and parents, race each other through those courses. So that was a bonus.
And I'm doing a quick Google search. I don't see hours listed. But besides that, there are 10 pools, and then there are water play areas that are inspired by Making Friends. There's the splash zone themed towards Toy Story that has giant rubber bath toys and the Slidosaurus Rex.
Which is
It's like a
really
family slide.
hmm And that's the one, if you remember in the podcast with Zoe that she was talking about, that was her quote hidden slide, because it's not on the main deck 11. You have to go up, I believe, to deck 12. I think it goes off deck 12. Kind of the one where she said, follow the kids and you'll find the other slide.
Yep.
It was much less busy than the Aquamouse. So
But that says something about it's an awesome slide when you have to go to another deck to even get on it.
yeah.
No, special events they have are Pirate Night, where it
Yeah.
gets into everyone, and we'll cover a little bit later on about dressing up like a pirate.
hmm
but everything is themed towards having a big pirate celebration, and start singing yo ho.
Absolutely.
And now those kids clubs that they have, it's a small nursery, which is for 6 months to 3 years old. It's a daycare, and they have special Disney friends can visit.
Mm.
Although you got to be careful with that. I know that my niece, who's now she's finishing up her junior year of high school, that whenever she was little, we went. Let's see, she would have been just like 2 or 3 years old.
Okay.
That we went to Epcot and got to meet Mickey, Minnie, and like the Fab Five. They were all in an area to go to back whenever they had that. And she was clinging to my sister whenever they got the picture with Mickey first. And then my sister set her down and let her two older brothers get pictures. And my niece did not want to go anywhere near them. Now,
Oh,
she was terrified, but then she had her back against like the glass wall, like the wall of the thing. Huge grin on her face. Loves seeing all the characters. They took a step towards her, terror. They took a step
yes.
back, huge grin. So it
Enjoy
was
it from afar.
perfect space.
Yep.
So she needed her distance, but that was so funny. We're going to interrupt your regularly scheduled podcast right now. So we went kind of long talking about the Disney Treasure and Mandy's trip on it. So we're going to break this into 2 episodes. So we're going to finish today with a travel tip. And this one comes from Mandy's husband, actually. He said that you should go on a diet and lose 10 pounds before your cruise, because whenever you're on the cruise, you're going to eat so much food, you're going to gain it all back, and then you'll be fine. So you put your suffering in beforehand and you work hard to lose the weight, and then you'll be good whenever back to your normal thing whenever you're done. So there's our wonderful tip of the day. Now, if you have a destination or experience that you'd like to have us discuss on the Where Yinz Goin podcast, or if you'd like to share your favorite destination or travel tip, feel free to contact us. We'd love to hear your feedback and ideas. Mandy, how can people get a hold of you?
Through text or call at 609-305-3445, or my email is mandy@dreamsbydesigntravel.com.
For me, we're on Facebook and X with the Where Yinz Goin page. Yinz is spelled Y-I-N-Z, and then Goin, G-O-I-N, with the apostrophe and question mark. All this information is in the episode description, so if you'd like to contact us to ask questions, or if you want to book a trip or whatever else, you don't have to have written that down or have a photographic memory, so you can just look it all up there or worry about spelling. Please like, follow, subscribe, leave a review, tell a friend if you liked what you heard. Let other people know so they can have fun enjoying the podcast as well. You found us, obviously, but we are pretty much wherever you can find podcasts. So if someone else has a favorite platform, they can look for us there, whether it's Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, things like that. Mandy, it was so much fun to have you on. Again, we're going to have you back a few other times in the future.
Absolutely. Thank you, Matt. I appreciate it.
And hopefully we can get Zoe back some other time too.
She would love it. Yes, definitely. She's in.
So please join us next time. We're heading out in that. We'll see you later.